Hello and welcome to the Classroom Connection, the show that takes you inside Marion County Public Schools. I'm Kevin Christian, and coming up on today's show, you'll learn how students and simulators are making driver's ed classes much safer these days. We'll give you a checklist of things to do this summer to make sure you are ready when school starts next month. And then we'll sit down to discuss all those changes taking place with the FCAT starting this year. But first up today, August 14th is a big day right here in Marion County, especially for our school district. That's Election Day, and with 2 school board races and the Republican candidate for superintendent decided that day, there's a lot at stake. Also, 2 half-mil referendums are on the ballot to help with operating and capital expenses in our school district. So we share the following information with you to help you cast an educated vote. Come August 14th, Marion County voters will approve or reject 2 proposals to increase school funding. Both are based on millage increases, which would affect property owners throughout the county. The first half-mil resolution would pay operating expenses to have art, music, and library programs at each school, including media specialists. Today, at least 8 elementary schools share music teachers and 10 share media specialists. This half-mil will also pay for reading coaches at each school, specific summer school programs, and after-school tutoring. Finally, the half-mil will also fund credit recovery classes to prepare students for college and the workplace. The half-mil would also affect property owners only and would generate an estimated $7 million each year for 4 years. Voters will also decide on a second and separate half-mil for capital improvements. Both ad valorem increases cannot be used for salary increases. The estimated $7 million per year would help pay for schools and district projects like painting, flooring, heating and air conditioning systems, and roofing projects. The half-mil would also fund technology needs and help the district develop and operate its own alternative school instead of contracting outside vendors for that service. Both half-mils for operating expenses and capital improvements would last 4 years, raising a combined $14 million each year. For the average homeowner with a house valued at $125,000 with homestead exemption, both ad valorem increases would translate to about $10 each month, or about $125 each year. Remember, Election Day is August 14th, and we encourage you to make your voice heard by heading to the polls. Well, another big ticket item this year is the FCAT, especially with changes that have sparked controversy from the state level to the school level. Janet Weldon leads our guidance and testing department, and we kind of consider her the FCAT queen because she and her colleagues pretty much handle all of the FCAT responsibilities for our school district on what many people call a high-stakes test. Of course, we're talking about the FCAT. First of all, Janet, thanks for being here.
Thank you.
Let's talk first about what the biggest changes are. And we talked about, we know that the writing score was bumped back, but let's kind of summarize what's going on here for parents.
The Florida State Assessment Program has been in transition the last couple of years with huge changes still planned for the next several years. So we want to focus on what's to come. The main change we've had already has been a transition to computer-based testing from paper-based testing exclusively. New standards were included a year ago, and then this year, 2011-2012, the year we just concluded, was the first year we received results based on new achievement level standards for reading and math. And a lot of people noticed a change in the scores that we received this year as a result of that.
That's kind of where we talked about, or we shared information with parents that not only did the test change, but the scale change. So if the scores are lower, it doesn't necessarily mean that their kid did worse than what they did last year.
That's exactly right. It may be just a function of the raised expectations for student performance and higher achievement level standards, especially for the standard for level 3. Satisfactory performance in the FCAT is higher in most cases this year.
Harder to get that 3.
That's right.
All right, carry on. We got plenty to talk about.
So let's talk about what's coming in the upcoming school year. We're going to see the last bit of the old FCAT for the FCAT retakes for students in high school who are still meeting that graduation test requirement. It'll be the first year of a new, what we call EOC, which stands for End of Course exam. A new exam for U.S. history coming up this year.
Now, we're already doing some of those end of course exams, correct?
We are. We're doing Algebra 1, Biology 1, and Geometry already. So we will add U.S. History this year. We're also going to add a new end-of-course exam for middle school civics this year. It will be field tested at selected middle schools.
Okay.
That will be an important test for those middle school students because they can't move on to high school unless they can pass that course and pass that exam in the future.
Okay.
Computer-based tests. We're going to be testing computer-based testing for reading in grades 6, 7, 9, and 10. And for math, we will be introducing 5th grade math as a computer-based test. So that'll be the first computer-based test in our elementary schools coming up this year.
We're really moving to completely computerized tests, right? Is that the
Almost
goal?
completely, that's right, within the next several years. So a huge transition to computer-based testing. Now, coming up a year from now, in 2013, 2014, that will be the last year for FCAT as we know it for reading and math. The first year of the civics EOC for all middle school students in that course that year. That will be the field test year for the new tests that will take the place of FCAT in the future. They're called Common Core Assessments.
Let's say that again, because people aren't going to understand that the FCAT is going away, but what it does is not. It's not going away. In terms of measuring
Testing
learning.
is not going
Yeah.
away,
Yeah.
but the old FCAT as we know it, on the standards that were currently assessed, that test is going away to be replaced with the new Common Core assessments. Some people are calling them PARCC, P-A-R-C-C assessments, in the English language arts and math, and also in selected math end-of-course exams. Those will be field tested in 2013, 2014. Every new test, when it comes in, we get to practice it. We get to try out the items on the test, make sure they're okay.
It's kind of like test driving a new car.
It is,
Okay.
because the items that don't work well, they get rid of them before the full test.
Okay.
Computer-based testing will still be expanding in 2013, 2014. We'll be adding 8th grade reading. We'll be adding 6th grade math to the other grade levels where we already test on computers. So that's coming in 2013, 2014. Now you asked about when are we going to be to completely computer-based testing?
No more paper.
In 2014-15, which is only a short time from
Couple years
now.
from now.
All of our testing will be on computers with the exception of 5th grade and 8th grade FCAT science. Everything else will be computer-based. It'll be the first year of the Common Core assessments in English and Language Arts for grades 3 through 11. It'll be the first year of math in grades 3 through 8 on those Common Core assessments. And then the high school end-of-course exams, 3 of those will also be the new Common Core assessments.
How do parents wrap their head around all these changes? It seems like there's so many things each year that are different with the FCAT that at some point it's like, okay, wait a minute, stop, let me understand what's going on and then tell me later.
That's exactly why you and I are talking, Kevin. We're talking to everybody we can to help them understand these changes. There are so many reasons why they're happening. It is confusing. We will keep communicating as clearly as we can so that parents can understand what their children are expected to do each year.
I know that we have posted letters on the parent portal that explain some of the changes that are taking place. School newsletters have had some of that information. What else can parents do in terms of accessing any kind of information that would help explain what's going on? Obviously, they can call your office.
Sure. They can call our office. Our own website, which can be linked from the district's homepage for guidance and testing, has information as well. And that also links to the Department of Education website where there's a great deal of information about this whole transition.
So at some point, we're just not going to say FCAT anymore?
Yeah, 2 more years of FCAT. And
We're
then
going to say
FCAT
end-of-course
is done.
exams.
EOC will stay, but it will
Yeah.
be a different EOC for some of them. But in 2014, 2015, we will have a whole new assessment system for English language arts and mathematics in the state of Florida.
Wow.
Now, we also need to talk about school grades as well.
Which is a big deal because we've got a couple of minutes left. People understand that the FCAT impacts school grades, but it's more than just the FCAT performance. We're looking at graduation rates involved for high schools now, and that lowest quartile, the lowest 25% of the students, how much gain they make in terms of learning gain. So there's a lot of different factors involved here.
Absolutely, and we've already talked about some of the things that impact school grades, which are largely based on FCAT scores. Those higher achievement level standards have a huge impact in reducing or lowering scores this year for the first time, and the state policymakers tried to take that into consideration, but there were a total of as many as 15 changes in school grading that are implemented this year in 2012 for school grades. One other change that's important is that students with disabilities and English language learners simulators are going to be included in all the components of school grades. Up until this year, they were included only in the learning gains components. That has another, a large impact on students on the school grades.
So basically all students are included here.
In all the components of the school grade calculation, that's correct.
Okay.
This year, for the first time, we'll have the end of course assessments included, the first one of those being Algebra 1 in school grades this year. As you mentioned, the graduation rate calculation for high schools is going to be changed a little bit this year. We've already mentioned as well the FCAT writing standard that was changed this year from a score of 4 to a score of 3 as the result in more rigorous scoring criteria for writing. That figures into school grades as well. As a result of all this, the State Board of Education looked at all these changes and said, you know, it's hard to forecast what's going to happen, so for this year only, we're going to limit each school's grade dropping to no more than 1 letter grade for this year only.
Regardless?
Regardless of the data.
Okay.
Now, the data will still be there.
Right.
We'll be able to look at our progress and look at our performance, but the letter grade itself will not be allowed to drop more than 1 grade for this year only.
And a lot of our schools, especially at the high school level, have suffered from that, what we call, what Mr. Yancey, the superintendent, calls the death penalty, which is you earn enough points to get this grade, but because they didn't meet this category or this category or this category, you lose another letter grade.
Yes, and for this year only, that provision has also been suspended, again, because of all the uncertainty with all the changes that happened this year.
So I guess it goes without saying, or we need to reemphasize that you know, we anticipate some of our school grades will go down, but you have to keep in mind that the FCAT is a harder test, or it's a different test with a different grading scale, if you will.
Absolutely.
So anytime you change those kind of parameters in the middle of the game, that's what I'll similarize it with, then you're going to have different results.
That's correct.
Our schools are still great schools, we know that, but a lot of people put so much confidence in that school letter grade that this year we need to be more careful to really look at what that letter grade truly means beyond the 1 or 2 or 3 days of testing that grade is figured on.
That's correct.
So, wow, Janet, you have a tough job. I don't think I'd want your job. Of course, people tell me that too. So it's a very difficult subject to explain, but I appreciate you breaking it down for us. And of course, if parents have any kind of questions, they can always call the main switchboard line. Or what's your office number?
Our office number is 671-7157. We'll be glad to answer any questions that the public might have.
Thank you, Janet, and thanks to all your staff too. They do a great job.
Thank you.
All right. Well, it is the summer, but parents need to be thinking about making the first-time transition for their child to enter school in August. So with this in mind, Tom Louder shares some of the biggest questions parents have when it comes to first-time registrations.
Language, to get to know their letters and their numbers, and to explore and to socialize. It works wonders with self-esteem. We do have a computerized program, Waterford, that we use. Again, it's developmentally appropriate, and it focuses on the sounds and naming of letters, and it's wonderful when you go in a classroom and you see students on this program and they're singing along with the program, getting to know the characters. And what's wonderful about that program is it works on the individual child's level.
Well, requirements for the kindergarten students to begin school are basically the physical examination within the current calendar year, as well as 4 polio vaccines prior to their 4th birthday. If the 4th vaccine happens after the 4th birthday, they would have to have a 5th. So that's the primary for kindergarten coming into school. The easiest way to sum that up It doesn't have to be per se a blue card anymore. We do have to have an updated shot record that has all current immunizations on it. Those are obtainable through the Marion County Health Department or the child's pediatrician. It really is more of a anecdotal from the doctor if there are any medical conditions. There are other forms that you can obtain through the school system. If the child is on prescription medication that has to be given during the day, there are specific forms that would have to be filled out that can be acquired through the child's base school. There are many different medical conditions that require student-specific trainings, such as diabetes, EpiPens, even to catheterizations, more significant conditions. There must be a signed plan of care from a physician, as well as prescribed medication form that have got to be filled out. Medications have got to have the child's name on the label with exactly when that medication is to be given. So that can all be obtained during the summer and can be brought to the school during the school orientations that week before school begins.
You can pose plenty of other questions to those departments by calling the numbers provided, or you can call our general switchboard at 671-7700 and the operator will direct you to the appropriate school or department. Now, if you're looking for a job, listen up. We are looking for great people to be great bus drivers, and there's a nice payoff. Here's a brief look at our latest job posting. Without transportation, our schools would be empty. Before teachers, administrators, and even janitors, it takes a bus driver to stand at the forefront of a child's education. At $12.50 an hour starting salary, Marion County Public Schools offers benefits, a schedule with school holidays off, and the security of a guaranteed 4 hours per day with extra hours available. Apply online or call the transportation hotline today to learn how you can have a positive influence on students in our community. It is a tough job, but if you're up for a challenge, give our transportation department a call at 671-7050. Again, that number, 671-7050. Well, speaking of driving, students are taking advantage of the latest technology before they even take to the streets in driver's ed class. As Chadwick Pierce explains, students are getting a crash course in driving without hurting anyone.
Learning to drive is a privilege that many teens look forward to and anticipate. Here in Marion County, they are using a new tool to ensure the utmost safety for all of our new drivers.
We received this simulator last year, and it's something that we utilize in our class, basically for students who are first-time drivers, who really don't have the behind-wheel driving time that they need. And this is a good apparatus for them to start learning how to involve themselves in traffic, keeping the car in the road, and so forth. So, it's something that we use, and it's been very helpful.
These simulators can be set to any real-world condition: county driving, city driving, even rain. But does it truly relate to the real world?
In the real world, no. I mean, nothing will replace the actual on-road driving that these students need in order to get their license and to become better drivers. I mean, that's, the real world. But as a simulator, it does wonders to get them accustomed to the brake pedal, the gas pedal, the steering wheel, how to check their blind spots, how to use their turn signals, how to interact with traffic, if they've never been in that situation before.
Never being in those situations before has not stopped students from strapping in and hitting the road.
I honestly like it because it's about as close as you can get to real world without being in the real world situations, and you really get a feel for some of the tricky situations when driving. When you get a stale green light that's been green for a while and you have to decide whether to make it or stop before it, it helps in that situation. And same thing when it's raining on icy roads, and it helps you to really get a feel for the kind of traction you have in those situations.
This summertime course is much more than just showing students how to drive. It actually helps them achieve something they all want.
We are certified by the state of Florida. It's called the DLAP program, and we are governed by them to give the written test, also the driving test. And then if they pass both, we give them what's called a waiver. We put it into the computer with DMV, and they simply go down and get their license.
Getting their licenses is the ultimate goal, but obtaining something else may be a very close second.
Just being independent. Like, I'm excited to just be out on the road by myself, like without my parents in the car, without the restriction of having parents next to you or them driving you around.
Being independent and on the road alone comes with one more important point and lesson.
It's a huge responsibility to drive. Like, there's a lot of factors and a lot of things that could happen if you're not responsible enough. You could lose your life driving, being behind the wheel. You just have to be very careful and safe, and that's the whole point of being independent, is being responsible.
The simulators were paid for with court fines from a special account set up in Tallahassee. Well, she may not be able to vote until the next presidential election, but Dunellen Middle School graduate Taylor Futch is doing her best right now to raise civic awareness among her classmates. She produced a poignant video about how little middle schoolers truly know when it comes to government, and that video was recently honored as one of the best in the nation. Joe Hartley has her story.
The goal of Student Cam is to encourage students to learn more about a subject. There is a cash incentive, there are prizes associated, but really what we want for the students to do is to do research, their homework on a certain issue. And I believe that Taylor really did learn about, one, the lack of education that certain students have on their government, and two, efforts that are being done right now to implement programs such as iCivics into the curriculum so that their education increases. And certainly based on the students that she interviewed who were unable to name the vice president and such, it's clear that that is needed.
Do you know who our vice president is? Something Biden, I think, just because I've seen the signs.
Joe. Mr. Joe.
Dunellen Middle student Taylor Futch's submission to Student Cam earned her a third-place finish in the nationwide contest and recognition from both her school and hometown.
And in appreciation of the recognition you have brought to the city of Dunellen, we present this outstanding student commendation.
There's a definite need. I mean, these kids are very ignorant of what goes on in government. Maybe at the appropriate time they will become very involved, but it's a definite void as far as the knowledge that these children have, and I think that the school district needs to really put a little more focus on it.
That's where this whole thing got started, while Futch was working on a video promoting the upcoming iCivics program.
Me and some friends were working on the iCivics thing with Sandra Day O'Connor, and the question was about like what concerns us, and we thought that that was a pretty big issue for our schools.
iCivics is an online game/learning tool designed to help teach students about our government.
It's a pretty fun game, and I've played it, and I think students will learn more about our government and the different branches and stuff because it teaches you about that, and you get to play a fun game.
While working on that project, Futch interviewed a couple of well-known figures, which helped set this project apart.
I'd say the amazing interviews that she conducted with former Supreme Court Justice Sandra Day O'Connor and former Senator Bob Graham really stood out to us because a lot of students have interviews, but that really shows that she thought out what she wanted to say in her documentary and the story that she wanted to tell, and focusing on iCivics and then featuring Justice O'Connor was really something that caught our attention.
We want to be able to say, yes, this is my government, this is how it works, and I'm able to communicate with them and help make it what I want it to be.
She was really fun to talk to. It was a really fun interview, and we got to talk to Bob Graham also, but the interview was really fun. She was a really nice lady, and she was funny too.
We want them to expand their knowledge on a certain issue, to choose a topic that's really important to them, and to, at the end of the day, become a better student and a better citizen because of it.
I learned that a lot of students don't know about our government that much, and like our president, some of them didn't even know who our president was, and then when they turn 18 and have to vote, they're not going to know what to look for.
7th graders in Florida will take a civics class this coming year, so hopefully Taylor's next video project will showcase how much students really do know about their government. Well, stay tuned. We'll be right back after this unique announcement.
Hey kids, want to kick the summer slide and maybe even score a $25 gift card? VBOT and TJ Ticket are here to help students at these schools keep up their reading and math skills over the summer. And the students with the most online hours between now and the end of July will get $25 gift cards. To qualify, you need to attend one of these schools and log into Ticket to Read and VMath Live. At home, at a friend or relative's house, at the library, anywhere you have internet access. It's that simple. For more information, contact Michelle in the Title I office of Marion County Public Schools at 671-4171.
As promised last month, here's a look at a Best of Show video winner from this year's Student Media Festival. This one comes from Dr. N.H. Jones Elementary, and I think you'll agree it's quite tasteful.
These are sweet treats called cinnamon rolls. They are in the group of treats called Danishes. They are called Danishes because they are Danish. They come from Denmark. My great-great-grandma Manon came to the United States from Denmark in 1892, and with her, she brought her cinnamon roll Danish recipe. My Aunt Phyllis still bakes this traditional treat, and today she's going to share it with us. You will need to gather these supplies: a medium pan, small cup or bowl, large mixing bowl, baking pans, a rolling pin, 5-pound bag of flour, 3 packets of yeast, 6 eggs, 2 cups of milk, 4 sticks of margarine, ground cinnamon, sugar, half a cup of warm water, salt, light brown sugar, cooking spray, and frosting. Now, let's get started. Step 1. In a medium-sized saucepan, put 2 cups of milk, 2 sticks of margarine, and 1.5 cups of sugar. Then stir over warm heat. Step 2. While the margarine is melting, in a different bowl, mix a half cup of warm water and 3 packets of yeast. Step 3. Dump about half of the 5-pound bag of flour into a large bowl and add a tablespoon of salt, then stir. Step 4. Take your margarine mixture and pour it over the flour and mix. Step 5. Put 6 eggs in the flour mixture and again mix. Step 6. Now add the yeast solution to the flour mixture and then mix. Step 7. Add enough flour to the mixture so it won't be runny, but still sticky. Step 8. On a floured surface, pour the dough mixture and knead until smooth. Step 9. Then leave on the floured surface and cover with clean paper towel or dishcloth until the dough has doubled in size. Step 10. Then split dough into 2 pieces and roll one side about ½ inch thick. This rolling pin was my great-great-grandmother's that she brought with her from Denmark 120 years ago. Step 11. Then take 1 stick of margarine and spread evenly over the rolled out dough. Step 12. Spread brown sugar over bread. Then sprinkle it with cinnamon. Step 13. Roll dough into a snake-like shape and slice into 1.5-inch slices. Step 14. Place slices on a baking pan that has been sprayed with cooking spray. Step 15. Bake at 350 degrees Fahrenheit for 25 to 30 minutes, 1 pan at a time. Step 16. Dump cinnamon rolls onto a greased surface for them to cool. Step 17. Repeat with the other half of the dough. Step 18. Frost if desired with any frosting. Vanilla frosting or cream cheese frosting is recommended. Step 19. Eat and enjoy your sweet treat, which was so worth working for.
Tit special.
Yes, it is, and now you know how to make a Danish cinnamon roll.
Enjoy!
Each month we introduce you to someone who really gets into their job with our school district. So today we want you to meet Kim Burt, a computer technician with our district. Here's why she loves her job in her own words.
It won't. And it just started that happening. This lady has sent me these invoices.
It really makes me feel fulfilled helping people. You know, with anything else. I just get to help people with a fun aspect of computers. I can, you know, if I can help them do their jobs better. It's fixed. Fabulous.
All right, you have a good
it makes it fun for me, and it's always challenging. It's never boring, and we're always so swamped. It's never ending, which is fine. I like it that way. I love the challenge of it. I love having the ability to troubleshoot. I never get bored. It's always changing. And I just enjoy the people. They're wonderful. I mean, we have so many hardworking teachers and administrative staff that I just feel lucky. I feel very lucky.
Thanks, Kim, for what you do for our students and for our staff every day of the year. This year's graduation ceremonies are now part of the history books, and many students are packing up for college. But as we wrap up our show today, here's a special message from some of the members of the class of 2012. Thanks for joining us today, and parents, remember, be there for your child every day.
Hey, I'm Jamie Chikella. I just graduated from North Marion as our salutatorian, and I just want to thank Marion County Public Schools for everything they've done for me over the years. It's like a giant family here, and I'm really going to miss it next year at UF. But hey, go Colts!
Hello, my name is Travis Fletcher, and I just recently graduated from North Marion High School with honors. I would just like to thank the public school education for really helping us prepare for the real world, but also as well as college. Thank you.
I'd like to thank everyone at the public school system for everything they've done, and I know that Marion County is a great place to go to school, and I just hope that when I go to West Florida for school to study marine biology, it's as fun as these 13 years in school have been.
I would love to thank the faculty, the teachers, and the staff that have given me a great education that is preparing me to head off to the University of South Florida in just a couple days to study interior design and marketing in order to follow my dreams, and it's all because I went to Bellevue High School.